Familiar Wilson's Media. Relationships are the story.
You are made of meat, my friend, all the way down.
The following podcast uses words like and also. If you're not into any of that shit, then now's your chance.
3, 2, 1.
Run.
Super familiar with the Wilsons. Get it!
Welcome to Super Familiar with the Wilsons. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Josh. Amanda, I write poetry now.
I know. I really like it.
And more than that, I'm recording it, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with these recordings.
You should put them out on our socials so people
See, I
can
don't
listen
know.
to them.
This is my thought. I feel like spoken word poetry is probably one of the most niche and least popular ways for people to receive any sort of literature. And maybe that's why I'm interested in it.
Okay. Well, maybe this is your pocket. Maybe this is where you belong.
This is what I'd like to do. And I've never even been to a place where they've read poetry aloud before. Is it
like a slam poetry
Is that what it's
reading?
called?
Yeah.
Poetry slam? See, that sounds a lot more like cultured and cool than what I would do.
It also sounds aggressive.
I would just do like a poetry plop, which is good because it's an alliteration as
There you
well.
go.
But no, I would like to get to the point where I'm comfortable getting up in front of a crowd, reciting my poetry and not caring how it's received.
Oh, I'm married to like a beatnik. Like this
No, but
is
you're
like
not,
we've
though.
gone backwards
No.
to like the 60s and like
This is my point is you're not married to a beatnik. You're married to a 50-plus-year-old dude who is like sitting here wondering if I can handle the rejection of getting up and reading my poetry and having people say, well, that was... Here's what I don't necessarily want to be known for. Not that I care about legacy, but I don't want to be the person that's like the straw that broke the camel's back as far as someone receiving poetry. It's like they hear me and they're like, well, shit, okay, I can forget that now. I never want to be exposed to that art form again.
I think that you're really good and you need to give yourself some grace.
Well, this is what I would like to do, though. I would like to practice reciting some of my poetry right now.
Okay. I don't know. This feels like, though, so much pressure on me because I was telling you were good, and now you're going to say some really silly, goofy things, and now I'm going to.
How is this pressure on you? How is this about you all of a sudden?
I'm centering myself. Go ahead.
You are. No, but this is, I kind of think, the point, because I think for the first time the other night, I read one of my poems to you, and to me, that was like a big step as well.
Was it?
Well, yeah,
well,
because
but you sent me the recordings of them.
there's separation. I record it.
True.
And then I send it, but I'm sitting in a little room. So here we go. All right, so this one is kind of ode to all of our wonderful billionaires
Oh, God.
who exist right now.
I don't want to think about them.
Well, okay, so ready?
Yes.
In my champagne penthouse I recline, dripping in silk, looking so fine. The world outside is a turbulent quake. I say, how quaint, with my artisan cake. The news is grim, the headlines scream, but I mute the din with artisanal cream. Earthquakes rattle, wars explode. Hand me my Prosecco and avocado toast. Protest chants and fists in the air. I scroll past these memes without a care. My algorithm's fine, it's curated well. Besides, I like my revolution with a hint of pastel. My neighbors flee in rising seas, but I'm all good. I sold those NFTs. The world's on fire. It's ash and rubble. I'm toasting marshmallows in my privilege bubble. Climate collapse, an inconvenient jest. And I've got AC, and low temps are the best. The planet's cooking? Oh, that's a shame. Have you tried this sparkling rosé? It's insane. I'm living large while the world implodes, picking cashmere lint off of my ethically sourced robes. Caring is fine, but only in tweets. Empathy's distracting when life is this sweet.
That's really cutting and really good. And also just maddening.
Well, this is the thing. Maybe this is my form of protest.
Well, I mean, but that's the
from
point.
my bubble, from my privileged bubble.
Your privilege bubble. But that's the point of an art form, right? Is to incite feelings one way or the other.
Well, listeners out there, I want you to contact us at familiarwilsons@gmail.com and tell me, you can be honest because there's the separation of email. You can even create a new email account if you want.
If you don't
So you
want
can be
to,
totally
if you want to remain anonymous.
And save me from myself if I need saving. Just kind of let me know. Is it worth for me to do this thing? And now it's time for our Saturday sports soccer update.
It was a rough day.
Well, why you gotta spoil the
I
punchline
know.
here?
It's the teaser trailer.
All right, here we go. It was a tough outing for the mighty Wolves this week. Ow!
Oh, I don't want to howl. Oh.
Okay.
It was a sad wolf. Oh.
Oh. At Diamond Sports Park as they faced off against an opponent led by a mysterious phenom named Simon. The result, a 2-0 loss that left the Wolves looking, well, a little less mighty.
Yeah.
Winthrop Wilson, usually a fortress both on offense and in goal, had an uneven performance, struggling to find his rhythm. It wasn't entirely his fault, though, as the team as a whole seemed a step behind compared to last week's thrilling victory. Perhaps the absence of sideline coaching, particularly from that one soccer dad, may have left the Wolves rudderless, their strategy adrift in a sea of youthful confusion.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet this week.
He was. Moving
Do you
on.
think he got talked to by someone?
I really don't.
Okay.
I don't think that he is one to care about that sort of thing, but
Yeah. Okay.
this is neither here nor there. He did have other little children that he had brought.
But they've been there every week.
I know, but also there was like a little soccer ball, and he was playing with them a bit.
Oh,
Did
maybe
you
he's
notice that?
decided to give up on the one on the field and start training up the other two.
Which is weird because like we won last week, so I don't know. He got complacent.
Yeah.
Anyway, Victoria was unusually quiet on the field while Gunter delivered a workmanlike performance. Solid, but not enough to tip the scales. The true spectacle came from the other side as Simon, a child who some speculate might actually be a 34-year-old hairless undercover soccer pro, dominated the game.
For real, though. That kid was intense.
With precision footwork and uncanny awareness, Simon scored both goals, raising more than a few eyebrows and some conspiracy theories. Despite the loss, the Wolves maintained their resilience, spirits remained high, and the team seemed unfazed as they shifted focus to week number 4. The season is halfway over, and this pack has plenty of time to regroup and find their howl again.
Oh. They were just happy for snacks. Here's what I think the problem was. Well, one, the other team, they had more players than us.
By 1.
By 2. They set out 2. And they all just, except for Simon, the rest of them just, they were not afraid of the ball. They didn't know what to do with it, but they created basically a wall around the ball. So our players couldn't get in there. They just you ever see farm animals like baby goats when you toss food and they all just trying to go at the food? That's basically what they were all doing. They didn't know what to do with the ball except just be around it. And that created this wall that our kids just could not penetrate. And also we weren't playing goal. There was no one in the goal. The coach decided to play zones.
No, the coach did decide late in the first half. There was a goalie because Gunter started in the goal, if you'll remember. It's interesting. I wonder if something was up with Gunter because he asked to start in goal, right?
Yeah.
And then they switched him out for, I don't remember, one of the other children. And then I heard Gunter say a few minutes later, I want to go back in goal. So maybe Gunter was nursing a little injury or maybe just his enthusiasm on this team, kind of like Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat. Maybe Gunter is gunning for a trade.
Oh, maybe he wants to be traded to the team that we played. Anyway, I do think the biggest factor, though, was not on the field, but in the air because it was colder here yesterday morning than it was in Alaska. I learned that when I was at the grocery store. Somebody was telling me, but it was 25 or 28 when we woke up. It felt like 25. And y'all don't understand Florida sports. I signed up for winter soccer so it wouldn't be 90 when we played the fall soccer. I didn't sign up for whatever this nonsense is. So I think they were just frozen.
Well, then all the children would have been affected. It's not like they brought in this team from Alaska. Or maybe they did.
Maybe Simon is from Alaska. You do not know.
Perhaps. I don't know. But we're looking for a better week next week, so y'all stay tuned. But what I want to talk about now, I just have a question for you. And no judgment. People need to feel free to be who they are. I was driving. Well, I had already dropped Winthrop off at school, and I drive through another school zone to get to work. There was a crossing guard that I noticed that's been there the whole time, but I kind of just noticed him this last time. He always wears a cowboy hat.
Okay.
And I'm like, whatever. But I'd never seen him in motion. There was a point where he had to stop the traffic, and I was the car that he stopped. Like I was the first in line. And just everything about him screamed cowboy cosplay to me.
Did he do a line dance?
No. Okay, first of all, I mean real cowboy, not line dancing cowboy. I mean that also is cosplaying when you're line dancing and you have the boots and that you are cosplaying. No, he swaggered up the street. I noticed that he was wearing like leather gloves. Never seen those before. You know, like leather gloves.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna,
like driving gloves.
I'm gonna get the dogies to go down the range or something.
Okay.
He swaggered up, and everything about him in his boots and cowboy hat said that he was fulfilling some sort of fantasy, with the cars being the heifers. And I'm just like, what? And he's moving like the little baby calves across safely to Gainesville Middle School or wherever it was. And again, I'm not like shaming this gentleman. I have no problem with anything that he's doing, but I have a burning desire. I have a need for him to admit that what he was doing was living out his cowboy fantasy.
Did he have a giant belt buckle?
He did.
Did he have a lasso?
I did not see that. It did not become necessary to grab a child wandering into the street quickly, so I didn't see the need for that. But what do you think about when folks like are wearing these things that are clearly like? I mean, there's no need for cowboys in the world today, right? Except for like you do have farms where they legitimately wrestle the dogies, but
maybe he came from the farm to do his stint as the crossing guard.
So you think that when he was done, since I think it's a volunteer position, he was going to go straight to the cattle run?
Was he an older gentleman or a younger gentleman?
Older. He was older.
So
he was living out a fantasy. Come on.
Maybe he is a retired cowboy and he feels sad that he doesn't get to dress up like that anymore. Maybe his wife finds it really hot, or his husband, or his partner.
I don't need for him to be wearing something that makes his wife hot when he's within 200 yards of a school zone.
Okay. All right, I don't know what to tell you.
I need to understand. Any of you out there who dress up in gear, right? And I'm not even talking about, it'd be like me wearing a full soccer jersey, pads, cleats to go shopping at Publix. It's just, I need to understand. I need to climb into this whole mentality. And I'm fine with it as long as you kind of let me know what's going on. I need to know how to react. Do I need to be worried? If I see this guy out and he's dressed in the chaps and the boots and the hat and he has his lasso on his hip, am I about to get hogtied? Or is he just... It's just like an innocent fantasy that he's living out, that he just wants to wear the gear. This is all I want to know.
Well, I mean, speaking of cosplay and people dressing up to live out fantasies, we are going to experience a lot of it this afternoon at the Medieval Fair. So are you going to feel unsafe with all of the wenches and kilts that you will be seeing?
Wenches and kilts. This Ren Fair that we have is an absolute excuse for people to dress up however they want. So we're going to see Power Rangers.
Yep.
We're going to see lots of furries. This is a thing that I know for certain, because we're such a small town. We have very few of these conventions that come through, that people are emptying their, the back of their closet where all the shit from Party City comes from. They're going to empty. So no, but again, this is the contract that we mentally sign when we go to one of these fairs.
Yeah.
People are going to dress up. I'm safe because I know that that's the thing. In fact, everyone's going to be dressed up there except me, and people are going to be like, "Oh, what's wrong with this guy? Do we need to keep an eye on him?" And I understand that, and I'm okay with that. But no, again, we're talking about just out in public where there is no agreement. Where if I show up and I'm going to my doctor appointment and I've got a tail sticking out of my britches, like, people are going to be called, right? Authorities are going to be called. That's what I'm saying to you.
I'm so mad at you right now. Oh, God. That visual was so good.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it happens. If you find a tail hanging in the back of my closet, you'll know.
All right.
Anyway, so, y'all, what do you think? People wearing costumes out. Again, I'm not shaming anyone. It's just understand the unexpected, especially in the climate in which we find ourselves. The unexpected can be worrisome sometimes, and I don't want to be surprised when I'm out. I want to know what to expect. The colors like waves, I'm on the shore. A symphony of colors unfolding the night. With the day's final breath, I'll take flight. Another thing that I noticed as I was in the school zone waiting for the dude to do whatever it is that he was doing, I will say that I think he's a good crossing guard, so I don't want to...
He's keeping all of the children safe.
Yeah, he's doing well. Is that I heard behind me someone having a phone conversation in their car, and I really don't think that people are aware how loud, like how you can hear every part of one side of the conversation.
Well, or both sides, actually. If they're using their Bluetooth.
Oh, does that go through the speakers
Oh
as
my
well?
gosh, yes. And I was in the parking garage the other day, had taken Winthrop to his 8-year-old checkup, and somebody was parked in the parking garage, and you could hear the entire conversation because they were broadcasting it over their Bluetooth, and it's so loud. Do people, are they not aware? Do they not care?
I see, I don't know. I would tend to think that if they're older, like our age, that they're not aware. I'm not aware of how loud my music is when I play it until I'm in a situation now where I work in a place that it's very undesirable because there's people living all around on the campus where I am. It's very undesirable to roll into work and have your music at a level that other people can hear. So I've become ultra aware of the fact of, oh gosh, I'm blasting my music. It's the same on the outside because these cars, especially... as we go forward, these cars have zero sort of sound insulation because they're little tiny, cracker box cars. And I'm very aware of it. I don't think that a lot of people are aware of how loud whatever goes through your speaker in your car is to the outside world. And of course, you don't really care unless you get people stopping you or you get, like if there's a noise ordinance or something, which I'm not aware of. But so I don't think, this is like a public service announcement maybe to people. We can hear everything that happens through the speakers of your car, period. So keep that in mind. I do not want to hear the specifics, nor do I think that you want me to hear the specifics of your conversation with the nurse at the doctor office telling you, how it is you're going to, get the, whatever finger up your bum or whatever else that needs to happen to check things or whatever. This is not something that you want people to hear.
No.
Speaking of the doctor's office, there's a segment that we used to do that a visit to the doctor's office has caused me to want to revisit.
Okay.
Give us advice, tell us what to do. Boss us around, boss us around.
You took Winthrop to the doctor the other day.
I did.
And in the course of the conversations, you started to talk about how Winthrop should stay in his own bed.
Yes.
What happens usually is we will put Winthrop to bed. He is around 8 years old now, and he's fine with being in his bed, but then in the middle of the night, he'll get scared or he'll just wake up, and then he'll come running and plop into our bed. Very disruptive.
Yes, and it should also be known that we do not have a king-size bed. Like most married couples, we have a queen bed, which is fine because we like each other and don't mind being in close proximity. But when you shove an 8-year-old between the two of us, somebody is inevitably getting kneed in the back.
Oh, yeah, it's a discomfort sandwich. Now, I don't know, how did you get talking to the doctor about this issue?
Because it was his annual checkup. So they ask things like, do you brush your teeth twice a day? Like they ask him to read things. And then she asked about his eating and asked about his sleep. And, what time does he go into bed? And I said, he's usually asleep by 8. We start bedtime at 7. But he's still waking up in the middle of the night. So that was how that came about.
And in the course of talking, she was addressing him or addressing you when she started to talk about what to do?
She was talking to him. She was not talking to me.
But you were in the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was explaining to him that it's really important for our bodies to have uninterrupted, or our bodies and our brains to have uninterrupted sleep, which she's not wrong.
That's right.
And she was saying that, she said to him, did you know that humans really are not meant to sleep? They're meant to sleep alone, I guess is what she was saying, which makes me wonder what her marriage setup is like. But that
I might edit that out.
Okay. She was saying
I'm not gonna.
Okay, she was saying that, and I don't mean that in a bad. I know people who are married and do not sleep in the same room because they don't get quality sleep. So I'm not judging their relationship. I'm just saying what that setup is like. So she was saying that humans are not meant to sleep with other humans because it breaks our sleep cycle or it wakes us up, and so that it really is better for him to sleep in his own room.
Right. I don't know. I'd be interested in talking about that a little bit more, at least researching it, because it used to be that when we were in caves, we would all just kind of like sleep in one big person puddle. So
to keep each other warm and to protect you from the saber-toothed tigers.
Yes. So anyway, not the point.
Yeah.
What is it that she said that got me all twisted up?
So she told him, here's where it fell down, because what she meant was a month, but what she said was a day. She told him, if you can go to bed in your room, go to sleep on your own, which we're still not there. We're still staying with him until he falls asleep. But if you can go to bed on your own, go to sleep on your own and sleep all night and do that for one day, then you can have a scheduled cuddled night with mom and dad where you fall asleep in their bed and you wake up in their bed. But then she said, so after a month. So what she meant was a month of that, but what she told him was a day. So then I had to disillusion him of that when he did it for one night. And it was a little bit unfair because he was right. The doctor did say that, but that's not what she meant. Now I will say you're upset because she made this schedule or this expectation for us without talking to us. It does not bother me. Because if I'm going to get a month of uninterrupted sleep, I'm happy to do a night of it.
My point is very simply that she did not check with the main office before she promised this kid that he could have a night's sleep starting our bed, ending in our bed. It's not her place to make that decision for us. Well-intentioned, sure, but a step too far, period. A step too far.
Yeah, but it's working. We now are 6 days in, and 5 of the 6 days he has slept through the night in his bed. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just happy that it's working.
As with most hills that we decide that this is going to be the hill that we die on, it's the principle of the thing. Like, next she's going to be like, okay, well, if you behave really well for the next month, mommy and daddy are going to give you the keys to the car and you can drive wherever the fuck you want to drive.
I really do not think that will happen.
Yeah,
I think that you, friend, are escalating.
The door is open. This is what I am telling you. So, friends, listeners, please get in touch. familiarwilsons@gmail.com and tell us whether the doctor overstepped a bounds by saying that he could stay in our bed for a night. Or if she should maybe have, said, Amanda, can we huddle about this and come to some sort of agreement? This is the equivalent of like the soccer team not planning, everyone gathering around the ball, and then it's just a big problem. So, I'm prepared to be wrong. I'm not, but I'm prepared to be wrong. You
sound like someone who's prepared to change his mind.
So email us at familiarwilsons@gmail.com. Speaking of sleep, I became aware of something this last week, and God bless, I don't remember where I became aware of it. So please, if you all have seen this out here on the socials, know that I've got so much information coming to me. I'm not trying to steal someone's idea or anything. I genuinely don't remember where I got this. That gunk that is in the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
We've always called it sleep.
I have never called it sleep or had it referred to as sleep, because sleep is what happens and then you get that stuff as a result. I've never heard that stuff called sleep. And
what did you call it?
Like either eye boogers. Have you never heard of eye boogers?
Yeah, but that's gross. Why would you say that when the word sleep is available to
or
you?
schmutz.
Okay, also, schmutz. I mean, I'm not like an 80-year-old Jewish man from Brooklyn. It's called sleep. My mom would always say you have sleep in your eye. That's just a thing.
I have never heard that. I became aware of it because I heard some British folks using that term as sleep. Mm-hmm. That my child had sleep in his eyes. I was like, that is such, to me, a British way of talking about something that's unpleasant. Because, to your point, gunk or gook or eye booger is gross. And so they've decided to just call it this magical term. If Winthrop came into our room and says, Daddy, I've got this stuff in my eyes. What is it called? And I would say, oh, buddy, that's called sleep. I would instantly want to sit down and write the story about Peter Pan and the Lost Boys finding a cave with golden coins in it. It would just make me feel so magical and so like of a different culture. And I've never heard that. It just struck me in a way.
That's so interesting because I don't. So I'm curious though, because my family's very Southern. This is a term that my mom always used, super Southern from Alabama. But I've also heard that the closest to, now I'm talking about accents for a second, but the closest to like the true, whatever English Shakespearean like language accent is kind of like the Southern dialect, but maybe phrasing too. I don't know, but
they also call vomit. They don't tend to call vomit.
They
vomit.
call it sick.
They call it sick. I mean, that's the same thing.
Yes, because sick. You've been sick. It's sick.
That'd be like though going to the bathroom and not referring to it as poop, but referring to it as lunch.
Okay, I'm done talking about bodily fluids and excretions.
Oh man, don't go into the toilet, man. I just had the worst lunch.
Okay, but also that kind of works though. You had the worst lunch and then it was a bad bathroom experience. Why do we always come back to bathroom talk?
Listen, it's the root. Just like Southern is the root of Shakespearean English. Super familiar with the Wilsons. Our root is, bad lunch in the toilet. What can I say?
Not mine.
Well, you married into the name, baby. Moving on. We got a letter from our friend Leo. Leo, we're thinking about you. He says, "Hey, Wilsons, just wanted to catch up on a couple things. First, one of the latest things you talked about, food. I don't much have an aversion to many textures, but I do have an aversion to how foods look. We did talk about how, for me growing up, food texture was just a really important thing. But for Leo, it's how it looks. One of my biggest aversions is in regard to fish. I love fish. In fact, I love most seafood, but what I cannot eat is a fish with the head still on it.
You don't want the eyeballs looking at you, Leo?
I simply can't eat my food if it's looking at me. So I agree with that. Nothing that has eyes do I want to know from. You know these people who like eat eyeballs?
Yeah. No, thank you.
Like not food shaming anyone, but I would not be able to look down at a soup and see it looking back at me. Like eye contact is very important in social situations, but not
with your soup.
Not with your soup. So I'm with you, Leo. And he says something else. He says, I also want to touch on something you talked about a few episodes ago, sleeping with separate blankets.
Oh, yes.
So he's been married 25 years, and we've had separate blankets for a long time. It started many years ago when I bought my wife a super soft throw blanket one Christmas. She loved it so much that she started using it as her primary blanket, and so he purchased a blanket for his own, and they've slept that way ever since. So Leo is on our side here, where we've got the situation now where we've got two separate blankets, and then because it's cold, we have a blanket over us. So we're kind of like a Crunch Wrap Supreme, where we've got several coatings.
That's
got
right.
Our own individual coating, and then something just to keep us in the bed together. So thank you, Leo, for at least... Now, Leo, what do you think about this doctor overstepping her bounds? That's what I want to know. And now, Refined Gay Thoughts with Refined Gay Jeff. Happy post-snow days, Wilsons. I'm still a little giddy from the snow Houston received this week.
You got so much snow, Jeff. It was beautiful.
Yes, he says that it's the first significant snow that he's had since he moved there 24 years ago. Took several photos and videos, of which he shared one with me, and I swear it looked like a Christmas card.
Yes.
And interestingly, from our friend Chris McClellan, who I do the other podcasts with, he sent us a video that was sent to him from a family member from New Orleans, like snow-filled streets.
Oh, yeah, no. I have a colleague who lives in New Orleans, and she was sharing things, and it's just magical.
Yeah, it's magical, like I said, from the warmth of, my room looking
Right.
at a video. He says it's never a good sign when Jim Cantore comes to town. And that happened to him.
Do we need to explain to the listeners? So for the listeners that are not from the United States or the Southern United States anyway, Jim Cantore is a weather personality on a cable news channel called the Weather Channel. And he is the person who goes where the worst of the storm is going to be. So when it's hurricane season, the joke is when Jim Cantore shows up in your town, you need to evacuate. Like that is going to be the center of the storm. And Jim Cantore showed up in Houston.
Yes, for snow. And he was, warning about, I guess, stay off the roads, whatever it is that he does. He did that. And he says, Jeff says, people took the warnings to heart. I think that they just realized they'd never driven in snow and didn't want to risk it for the biscuit. And I would like to applaud the people in Houston for such self-awareness, because that self-awareness does not live here in Florida.
No, everybody would have been on the roads.
Pretty much anything. As I was out walking in my neighborhood, taking it all in, all the families were outside having snowball fights and building snow people. But that's the other thing, is like snow has this, it's like you're not going to go out in the hurricane and play water balloons, right? So
you get some velocity behind those water balloons. That's
right, but only in one direction. He does say that this was the best snow possible because the 3 to 4 inches we received Monday night and through 10 a.m. Tuesday was very fluffy and virtually gone by Thursday morning. The sun came out, melted everything, dried it all up, and there was no slush.
That's lovely.
That is lovely and surprising, because I feel like Houston gets the worst of it whenever there's like with floods and stuff. So I'm glad to hear that. He said absolutely 10 out of 10 would do this again. His 2 pups, Hazel and Johnny, were kind of confused because they'd never seen it before. Hazel would walk in it, but Johnny stayed on the sidewalk and walkways. He barely even walks on grass when it's 90 degrees. What a diva.
Oh, he needs little booties.
So Jeff says something you did not know about me. Again, one of these segments that Jeff is doing a lot better keeping up with than we are. I think maybe because there's nothing left that the people don't know about us.
We've been doing this for 4 years. They know all the stuff.
So things that we didn't know about Jeff. Many years ago, I was in Italy with my parents and spent several days in Rome. One of the days we spent at the Vatican doing and seeing all the things you do and see at the Vatican. I am none the wiser what that might be, friend.
Did you see the Pope? That's all I got.
One thing that made it interesting and special, though, was that on my dad's birthday, June 28th, the Catholic Church was celebrating the feast of St. Peter and St. Paul. Now, my family is not Catholic, but we did participate in this because it gave us a chance to take part in something that was kind of super cool. We all stood beneath the window, and Pope John Paul II came to the window and bestowed a blessing on us. I can literally say I've been blessed by the Pope in person. So
that's cool. So you did see the Pope, and you got blessed. That's very cool. And you know what, Jeff? However many years later, that blessing came to you in the form of a beautiful snowfall in Houston.
Oh, you're giving that to Pope John Paul II?
I am. Yeah, he did that.
Oh, he did that. He's not even like the good Pope. I feel like the one that we have now is supposed to be the good Pope, and this guy was kind of a dick Pope. But I'm not certain that that's so.
Warn a girl, because I had a mouthful of coffee when you called him the dick Pope.
Amanda, I've not seen Nobody Wants This simply because Kristen Bell's characters in her movies I've seen are not feel-good characters to me. Thank you, Jeff. This is what I'm saying. Kristen Bell does not portray people that I want to see or know that live in this planet.
Okay, but Adam Brody, y'all, that's all I need you to focus on, Jeff. Go ahead.
He says, I did watch Veronica Mars back in the early 2000s and enjoyed it. I don't know what...
Kristen Bell was in Veronica Mars. I didn't watch Veronica Mars, but
Okay.
I mean, she is a little bit obnoxious, but that is the character. That is the character. Let's just all get behind it. She's a woman in her late 30s, I guess she's supposed to be. She is single. She's got just a lot of stuff going on. She's a little bit abrasive, but Adam Brody is so lovely. And then all the side characters, his brother is hysterical. If you enjoy like an ensemble cast or character development, it's fun too.
Yeah, I'm just saying that making that character type the main character is where the problem lies, because you can't help. It's like, I'm going to go see the Mona Lisa, but that damn girl in the middle of the painting is really distracting to me, and I don't like it. So,
all right. Adam Brody not in the Mona Lisa.
She is one of my favorite movies, however, that I just watched again last week, and she plays a not very nice, full of herself bitchy character. Burlesque. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. Christina Aguilera absolutely slays in it. And of course, Cher and Stanley Tucci are phenomenal as well.
I have not. I will check it out.
Technically, he says, I guess that's the sign of a great actor if they can engender feelings of animosity from you about their characters. But here's the thing. When it starts to be every character that they play, you start to ask yourself, who's reflecting whom here.
All right, Dax Shepard is coming for you, Joshua.
I can take him. He's yeah. I'm all right with that. Let's see. He does talk about this idea of having shows that you both watch, and then are there separate shows?
Yeah, we have
So
separate shows.
We talked about that. He says, my parents have had their own favorite shows, and after 64 years of marriage, they figured out how much it makes sense to have two TVs. If dad wants to watch sports ball, he goes to the bedroom. If mom wants to watch Hallmark, she goes to the bedroom.
What?
I think maybe living room. All are happy, and Jeffrey's inheritance is still safe. So they have two separate TVs. I don't want to get to that. We did talk about TikTok because everyone's talking about TikTok, although I guess things are pretty much back the way they were from before. I don't know. I don't spend a big amount of time on TikTok. But he says this. The 18-year-old is completely right in her summation of what happened. My hope is that people with common sense have figured this out as well, but as we all know, common sense is not a flower that grows in everyone's garden. He does admit ignorance to the following. I don't know how people make money from TikTok. Can you please explain it to me like I'm a kindergartner? Do you know the answer to that question?
Revenue. They get views, and then that has something to do with the ads that go on the algorithm, and then they get paid. I don't know.
I mean, basically that's it. They get paid because they are by what they're doing, by what their content is. They're providing value to TikTok. People will engage with TikTok if they want to see, the latest cat videos on TikTok. So they'll stay on the platform. We know that TikTok has advertisers, so people get, exposed to the ads, both, by the fact that they're on the platform, and also that people who are influencers on TikTok get incentivized to run ads, because then they'll also get paid for, product placement and all this and that. So, Jeff, that's why people get paid. If that's the question that you're asking, is that it keeps people on the platform, and so they don't go to YouTube or Instagram or whatever. But if you're asking how they get paid, there's a TikTok Creator Fund where to be eligible for that, you have to have at least 10,000 followers, at least 100,000 video views in the past month. You have to be 18 or older, and you have to have original high-quality content, right? That's directly from the TikTok thing. So, and then they get paid based on views, engagement, and their region. Interestingly, the pay rate is reportedly low, often around 2 to 4 cents per 1,000 views.
Oh, wow. That is low.
But then if you're on live and people heart or diamond, I guess, your live feed, then you get paid extra for that. You get paid if you have a brand sponsorship or partnership. You get paid for selling merch. Listen, it's a big racket is all I'm trying to say here. And it's very complicated, and people are doing it and making money.
So, like I said, revenue.
Yes, you said it. I guess if you're explaining it to a kindergartner, you'd say they get money. Everyone gets money. TikTok certainly is getting money. Here's the thing. If you are on a social media site and it's free, then you are the product.
Yep.
So that means that the reason why TikTokers get paid is because schmucks like me go on and they watch the shit. That's why people get paid. Jeff goes on. He needs to know who named Winthrop's soccer team and why it's Wolves and not Wolves.
Jeff, I have so many questions, and I'm not happy about it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
He agrees. He says, no wonder education in America is circling the toilet bowl. Yes, not because of that, but that's certainly a sign that.
Well, and I will say that the coach this week was saying wolves, plural, and not wolves, possessive, without the high comma, without the apostrophe. And so I didn't correct him that he was being incorrect about the grammatically incorrect name. So at least the coach knows how to pluralize the word wolf. But I don't know. There is now, though, a movie it's Brad Pitt and George Clooney, I believe, called Wolves. So maybe it's an homage.
Or product placement. Someone's making money. Who knows? We did talk about asparagus. So he said, concerning asparagus in scent or taste in bodily fluids, urine is not the only bodily fluid you can taste asparagus in.
Oh, thank you. All done.
Okay. He also says pineapple can be quite noticeable. James Buchanan is the only U.S. President Batchelor, he tells us, because we did talk about that. He vowed never to marry after a misunderstanding with his fiancée which caused her to take her life.
Oh, no, that's sad.
His niece, Harriet Lane, served as his acting first lady and is actually considered to be the first of the modern first ladies.
Oh.
There are several ships and yachts named in her honor. Interestingly. He says the U.S. Coast Guard cutter, Harriet Lane, was involved in the 1996 search recovery of TW Flight 800 off Long Island. In 2010, she was involved in the response efforts of the Deepwater Horizon oil rig explosion. And this past June, she embarked on a 68-day training mission to the South. Jeff, how do you know this stuff? That is amazing. Harriet Lane, the person, enjoyed a friendship with Queen Victoria, and actually Queen Vic tried to get her married off to an Englishman so she would always be in England.
Oh.
What would that be like if the First Lady of the United States got married to someone in England? That would be a heck of a thing to watch on The Crown.
Didn't we do that with Meghan Markle and Harry?
I try not to dip my toe into the Meghan Markle and Harry puddle there.
Okay.
He says, LOL, yes, Josh, a pearl necklace is quite different than a pearl earring. Yes, I know. He did check out the website or the Instagram page that I suggested called Only in Dade. Hilarious. He says, I think my two favorites were the man that shaved a six-pack onto his belly hair and the chicken in the baby stroller at the big box store.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to my childhood, friend.
Oh, wow. I mean, I've seen the six-pack in the belly hair. I've seen that, but I've not seen the chicken in the baby stroller. Like around here, we have the dogs and the cats in the baby stroller, but I've not seen the chicken.
Well, in Miami, if you see a chicken in the baby stroller and you see that the people are taking care of the chicken so well, the assumption isn't that they are fattening it up for, Sunday roast. The assumption is this is the chicken that they're eventually going to sacrifice to Chango. So then there's that.
Okay, we've gotten really dark during Jeff's letter.
Yes. So he closes by talking about how he was recuperating from last night after they left the Ripcord, where I was still getting shots for free of Jameson whiskey for his birthday. We went to George, the gay bar directly beside the Ripcord, obviously owned and named after my friend Frank. No, George. It was slam-packed, and I was more than a little occupied. There was a national meeting this weekend in Houston for the National Gay Softball League because the World Series of Gay Softball, yes, that's a real thing, will be in Houston this year in September. As a result of the meeting, each league participating from around the country has sent at least 2 guys from their teams. Your boy had a really good time last night and will probably enjoy it all over again tonight. So he says, that's all from this week. I hope that things are well, and I'll let you know if I find a part-time husband or at least a Mr. Right now.
Okay, but so Jeff sent this letter yesterday, and I got no pictures last night, Jeffrey.
Oh, he's probably still asleep.
No, I mean, usually he sends them from the events.
I don't want a picture that are happening during certain events.
No. It's usually just of the drinks that he's getting for free at the Ripcord.
All right, so thanks, Jeff. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Have fun.
No one likes to be told what to do.
And now is the time of the program where we tell you what to do. Amanda, what should we do?
I have recommended this before, but I'm going to circle back in light of the conversation about separate TV shows. I am going to recommend Shrinking on Apple TV if you have it. Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. I tried to recommend it about a year ago, and Josh was not interested in watching it. Kay, our friend from F My Work Life, wrote in and said, Josh, you got to try Shrinking. So I would like to report that Josh is now 5 episodes in of Shrinking with me. I think the Brett Goldstein connection, Brett Goldstein, you'll know as Roy Kent from Ted Lasso, who's an exec producer and is in the 2nd season. I've been holding off on the 2nd season, waiting for Josh to catch up with me. But I think we might maybe have found a show that he will watch with me. Even though it makes him uncomfortable. So I'm going to say go watch Shrinking.
My input on this show is that it's an enjoyable watch. There are rarely real stakes. And what I mean by that is the people are therapists, right? And so they're talking about really heavy things like grief and family struggles. And so The problem is that no one's feelings truly ever get hurt for more than 5 minutes. No one is truly angry for more than 10 minutes. And so
That's the problem for you?
it is because it's too pat. Now, it's written very well. My only other annoyance with it sometimes is that all the characters are at 11 of their character type at all times. And there is no place on this planet, even amongst a bunch of therapists, where the people talk this much all the time. Now, having said that, I'm very much enjoying Harrison Ford in it. He's a exceptional actor, and he's fun to watch, and he does all the little things of acting that make his character very compelling. And I'm enjoying the repartee, just knowing that these conversations are interesting artistic constructs that would never happen in real life.
Okay, it's escapism then.
Okay, sure.
In a way of help. Now, it has brought up some conversations about grief because, as we know, I have tons of unprocessed grief. And so it has brought up some conversations between us about grief. So therefore, I do think that even though it is escapism, it can cause you to think more deeply about things that maybe you should be processing.
Sure.
Okay, fine. Go watch Shrinking if you haven't. And don't talk to me about the new season because I know it came out a while ago. I'm just waiting on Josh to catch up.
Okay. All right, Amanda, that's all there is. There is no more. What'd you think about that mess?
I enjoyed that, and I am ready to go get my corset on and head down to the medieval fair. And actually, what I'm just really excited about is the food, because I am doing this intermittent fasting. But you better believe during my window from 11:30 to 6 tonight, I'm going to eat me some fried food from the medieval fair.
It's funny that you say that, but you also say you're going to put on a corset because that's your prophylactic against filling up too much.
Yeah, I don't own a corset. That was a joke.
All right, well, we can buy one there.
No.
Interesting things that are on the horizon for us. We are going to interview a capoeira master called Samurai. Just let that sit.
Samurai's a really nice guy. So maybe I'll save my samurai story for when Samurai is on the show.
Yeah, he'll enjoy that. We'll also have an update from Chicken Tom, who texted me yesterday telling me about this fire on his property that he had to call 911 for.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to Chicken Tom. Also going to catch back up with Chris Barron, see how he's doing. Spin Doctors are going to release a new album in April, and so we'll get him on to chat about that and all other things as well. But in the meantime, be looking for the new budding performance poetry artist on the scene. And yeah,
at a local coffee shop near you.
At a local, and lots of snapping. This is what we do in the scene now. If we like something, we don't clap. We snap. So there you go, folks. So until next week, y'all keep smiling. I know sometimes that's not easy in this world of ours, but you know, what else are you going to do? Smile. Your smile will maybe help someone next to you feel better, and then all of a sudden we live in a perfect world because everyone started smiling. There you go.
All right, go be kind.
Bye.
Bye.